Alright, welcome back to another video over here on SCS Combat, and today I'm going to be giving you my prediction for what is going to be one of the most dominant rematch performances you've ever seen in the sport of MMA. Paul Hughes versus Usman Nurmagomedov, number 2 for the PFL Lightweight World title. Starting off, obviously we all know last time out, Usman was given the decision victory over Paul Hughes, which was highly controversial. It was close. It got fight of the year for the PFL, which makes sense. I mean, it's probably the two highest level fighters the PFL have had in a while, so it was an unbelievable fight, and it was close. But at the same time, I think even though it was close, I think it can be close and there can be a clear winner. I think that was Paul Hughes. You look at all the instances in the fight from just the start where Usman was struggling to land, then he couldn't get his wrestling off as much as he thought he would. Paul Hughes scrambled a lot, was really good on the ground in that fight. Probably shocked Usman. Then you had the head clash incident where Paul Hughes and Usman went in at the same time and clashed heads. Now, in that moment, you kind of saw where the fight was. In the grand scale of things, Paul Hughes was extremely close to probably finishing Usman, and in my opinion, Usman was extremely close to quitting in that moment. You look at that video and you see the champion supposedly, and who goes on to be the winner apparently, down on one knee, not looking like he's not going to get back up. Let's be honest, a lot of people in the moment thought Usman was not going to get back up from that head clash, and I thought he was going to quit in that moment. I thought that was going to be it. But then you turn the camera around and Paul Hughes standing there on the other side of the octagon with a cut in the middle of his forehead, blood running down his face, and he's smiling. If you do a photo competition, it was probably one of the coolest photos of the year. That was the fight. And then you look at the aftermath. Usman said in an interview after the fight that he thinks Paul Hughes should get 3 or 4 more wins before he gets another shot at the title. Whereas Paul Hughes was calling for the rematch immediately. And you could see straight away who wanted it more, and who believed they'd won, and who believed they just got away with something they shouldn't have their belt anymore. Paul Hughes was willing to do whatever it took to get that rematch. So instead of sitting out like certain people, straight up like Usman, or if you look at the UFC side of things like Arman Tsarukyan, Paul Hughes decided he's going to go and prove his point. So he returns in May in Belfast against Bruno Miranda in the SSE Arena. In terms of star-making performances, this was it. Paul Hughes goes out in 42 seconds and without even being touched in the fight, knocks out Bruno Miranda, knocks him down with the first punch, and then ground and pounds for the TKO victory in 42 seconds. And as if that already didn't prove his point enough, then he grabs the mic, and the first thing he does is he shouts down the mic that he wants Usman Nurmagomedov next. You can run! You can try to live this rematch as long as you want, but your day is fucking coming! And that's what he got, because that's how you take advantage of a moment. And he was the only worthy fight anyways. The PFL were doing all these Twitter posts and stuff, teasing that these two might fight in the same card but not fight each other and stuff like that there. It was just stupid stuff. But then we ended up getting the rematch confirmed. I think in that first fight, in my opinion, Paul Hughes put on a performance, and when you looked at his opponent in the heat of it, in the struggle, you looked at someone and seen fear in their eyes. You looked at someone and seen quit. They wanted to quit. Usman wanted out of there. Usman wanted the easiest way out of there. Simple as that there, but he knew he couldn't quit because, he's Usman Nurmagomedov. He's the cousin of the legend, and by the way, he had the actual dream team in his corner, and he couldn't do anything about it because he had Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev, two of the greatest fighters to ever live, and then he had Javier Mendez in his corner, and they did not have a clue what to do in there. Paul Hughes just batter. Usman was struggling to land at points. He did land some good shots in there as well, to be fair, on the feet, and he had some control time in round 4. Whenever it got to the point, Paul Hughes was landing. I mean, I think Paul Hughes shocked a lot of people with his wrestling in that fight. It kind of shows you the level that they're performing at down in Fight Academy Ireland, and a lot of people don't believe that. A lot of people just have certain beliefs about certain areas in the like certain areas or certain fighting countries, and it's like they have this one attribute that can't be matched. And in some cases it's true, like you look at Hamzat and Khabib's wrestling, but then Americans thought the same, and people catch up eventually. You have Bo Nickel being took out by Reiner de Ritter, and he was the next big American wrestling prodigy. I think in this fight, Paul Hughes is going to bring it 10 times more than he did in the first one, and I don't see Usman Nurmagomedov being able to do anything about it, because if you look at that first fight, I think Paul Hughes is going to come out of the gates firing on all cylinders, and I do think that he's going to win this fight. I think it's important for him to put it on Usman heavy early, drag him into those deep waters to where he doesn't want to be in that fight, to make him feel where he was again, but to make him realise that there's no way out this time. And I think Paul Hughes is going to be able to do that there. You look at all the training, the hard work he puts in, and even amongst the hard work, the promotion he puts in. I mean, after that last fight when Paul Hughes was shouting from the rooftops he wanted the rematch, Usman Nurmagomedov was in hiding. Like, no one heard of him, no one heard from him until the rematch was happening, or until Paul Hughes fought again in May. No one heard of Usman Nurmagomedov. I think Paul Hughes' pace, his aggression, his power, and his just overall will to win is really going to make Usman Nurmagomedov suffer in this fight. I don't think the leg kicks will get done for Usman this time. I think Paul Hughes is going to know his wrestling even more, which is really bad for him. I really don't think there's a way out for Usman this time. He had a nice right hand a couple of times in the last fight. I think this is it. I think this is the moment in terms of, you've seen Umar lose. Now we're going to see Usman lose. We've technically already seen him lose. Islam has already lost in the past. Everyone used to do the photos, look at these records together, and they'd all be undefeated and stuff. Not this time. Paul Hughes will go out there. He will drown Usman. He will take that belt back to Belfast, and he will show levels. He'll show the levels of one of the best gyms in the world, Fight Academy Ireland. And enough said. Paul Hughes is going to win this fight, and he's winning it by stoppage, by knockout. Paul Hughes will knock out Usman Nurmagomedov. Like and subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and come back here because my UFC 320 predictions will be up soon as well, so go and check that out.